Hey fifth graders, this is Miss K for this week's Owl Lesson at Home. Today, we're continuing to talk about digital citizenship by talking about being kind online and when meanness online becomes cyberbullying. At the end of the presentation, you'll get a chance to show what you know through a reflection activity and to practice your skills in an online game. Here's the essential question that we will hope to have answered by the end of our lesson. What is cyberbullying and what can you do to stop it? Take a second and think about this question. What are the differences between joking, being mean, and bullying? Take about 15 seconds to think. Here are some of the ideas I came up with. When someone is joking, both people are laughing. It's about what someone likes or something they did, not who they are. It's not attacking a person's appearance, race, or their family, and you wouldn't be upset if an adult heard you say it. When someone is being mean, the person the joke was said to is not laughing. It's making fun of who someone is, like their personality or their disability. It's attacking things that someone can't change or didn't choose, like their appearance, their race, or their family. And if you wouldn't say it in front of an adult, that probably means it's mean. Remember that bullying is when someone keeps being mean to someone else over and over. It's unfair, the person being mean has more power. It's one-sided, the other person isn't being mean back, and it doesn't stop or get better on its own. Part of being a good digital citizen is thinking about your impact on others. So it's important to think about the way you communicate with others over text, email, and on social media as well. Online communication or communication over text, games, social media, and apps can be a really powerful tool to keep us connected. We gain knowledge by learning from our friends, we have fun by making videos on TikTok, and we have new experiences by playing games with people. However, it does have its drawbacks. When we're communicating online, our words are open to interpretation. That means we never know how someone on the other end of the computer will interpret our words. You might say something as a joke, but to the other person it felt really mean. Or you may be giving advice that you think is helpful, but to the other person it feels bossy. When we're communicating online, we don't always have the context around what someone else is saying to be able to tell if it's a joke or if they're being mean. We also lose the ability to use our empathy clues to figure out the meaning behind what someone else is saying. We can't always look at others' faces, eyes, and bodies for clues about the meaning behind their words. And without hearing their tone of voice, we might interpret what they're saying differently from what was meant. That can make it harder to understand what message someone is trying to get across, and it can make it harder for us not to jump to conclusions and assume the worst about others. Finally, it's hard to be able to explain what you meant or fix a miscommunication quickly, especially if the other person is upset and doesn't want to talk to you anymore. It's really important that you always think about what you're going to say and make sure it's clear and won't confuse or hurt the other person. How can you make it clear to someone over text that you're trying to be funny? How can you fix it to the other person if they didn't understand you were joking? Thinking carefully about the words we use can make a huge difference. Paying attention to your punctuation and the emojis you use can be important too. There's a big difference between "that's funny" with a period and a mad emoji, and "that's funny" with an exclamation point and a crying laughing emoji. We're going to watch a quick video to review what cyberbullying is and what you can do about it if it's happening to you or someone else. As you're watching, try to think of what your definition of cyberbullying would be.
When we're mean.
I'm going to pause for just a second so the video can buffer a little bit. Okay.
We might say or do things that hurt others. We might be feeling angry, upset, or jealous. It could happen once, or maybe even twice. Being mean is not okay, but bullying is much worse. Bullying is when someone uses their power repeatedly to hurt or upset someone. It could be hurting them physically or calling them names and saying hurtful things. So then, what's cyberbullying? Cyberbullying's like bullying, but it happens on the internet or on a device like your phone, which can make it kind of different. With cyberbullying, it can feel harder to escape because it can happen anywhere, anytime. Also, it's easier for cyberbullies to hide who they are. Plus, other people online could see what's happening and even gang up on someone. If you see someone being bullied, in person or online, what can you do? Give them support. It helps to show that you care. Be an upstander. Stand up for others and say something to the bully. Report what you see and tell a trusted adult. So, what will you do if you see cyberbullying?
So hopefully you've had a chance to think about your definition of cyberbullying. Let's look at the definition of cyberbullying that we learned in OWL lessons earlier this year. Cyberbullying is bullying that happens using digital technology. It means repeatedly using digital devices, sites, games, and apps to intimidate, harm, and upset someone. Just like bullying that happens in person, it's unfair, one-sided, and doesn't stop on its own. And just like with in-person bullying, there's usually a target, who is the person being bullied, and another person or group of people who are doing the bullying. Remember that a bystander is someone who sees bullying happen. They can choose to do nothing and be part of the problem, or they can choose to stand up and be part of the solution. Just like with in-person bullying, cyberbullying is something that happens more than once, is on purpose, and doesn't get better on its own. You can use the 3 R's we talked about during our bullying unit to recognize that you or someone else is being bullied online, refuse to let it continue by sticking up for yourself or for the other person, and report it to an adult by telling a grown-up at home or using the report button on the game or app you're using. Just because meanness is happening online doesn't mean there's nothing you can do about it. The same steps that you can use to stop bullying in person will help you to stop bullying online. Make sure you know how to use the report and block features on games or apps you use to help stop bullying, and make sure you know how to take screenshots. Remember, if the first person you report to doesn't help, keep reporting until someone helps you. Let's really quickly look at some of the reasons why someone might cyberbullying someone else. Someone who cyberbullies might be upset that someone acts or looks differently than them. They might be angry at another person. They might be jealous of the other person. They might feel bad on the inside and want to hurt others, or they might be trying to get more power for themselves. Remember, we talked about social power, getting other people on your side or other people to like you. So someone who's bullying might be trying to get that social power. Here are some ways that you can use the 3 R's to respond if you are being cyberbullied. You can take screenshots of the messages to show them as an adult, or to show them to an adult when you're reporting. You can refuse by blocking and reporting the person. You can refuse by ignoring the messages or deleting them. You can refuse to let it continue by respectfully standing up for yourself. And you can report by telling a trusted grown-up right away. If you're a bystander to cyberbullying, here are some ways you can use the 3 R's to be a responsible bystander. You can stick up for someone else online that you see being bullied by using respectful words. You can help someone report bullying to an adult. You can support the person being bullied by including them or being kind. You can report the person who's doing bullying yourself, or you can report what you've seen to an adult offline. We have talked a ton about empathy this year, and empathy is so important for lots of things. But it's really helpful when we're online using digital communication and during cyberbullying situations for 2 reasons. If we have empathy for others, we'll be kinder to them online. Pausing and thinking before you say something digitally through text or social media gives you a chance to think about what you're going to say and make sure it's something that would be funny to both people, that it's kind, and that it's constructive. Think about if you would say it to the person face to face. If not, then it's not something you should say online. Think about if it's something you would say in front of your parents or in front of your grandma. If not, then it's not okay to say it online. Never forget that there's another human on the other end of that screen and that they have feelings too. The words you say online or in a text might stick with that other person for a long time, and it could ruin a friendship if you're not careful. The second reason it's important to have empathy is when we have empathy for someone who's being bullied, it gives us the courage to do something about it and speak up. Thinking about how others must feel when being picked on can give us that extra push to recognize, refuse, or report, and makes us want to support someone who's being bullied. One thing I've always loved about this fifth grade class is you guys have so much empathy for one another. I'd love to see you use that power for good. If you want to show what you know, in your Google Classroom, you're going to find a reflection activity called Is It Cyberbullying? Sandra's Story. You can read the story and respond to the reflection questions there. You can also play an online game called Evolve to practice being a responsible bystander and stopping meanness and bullying that happens online. Click on the link in your Google Classroom to get to the game. Thanks everybody for listening. I hope you have a great week and I will talk to you soon.